Hey guys, so this is my video of the 10 best movies I watched in 2023. And because the movies I actually enjoyed were slim pickings this year, I decided to include anything I've watched. Doesn't really matter if it was actually released in 2023. So we're gonna start off number 10 and go to number 1. Number 10 was A Haunting in Venice. I enjoyed the movie fairly well while I was watching it. It was very beautiful, very atmospheric. I did think the mystery was interesting, but ultimately it was just a movie for me, I guess. Once I left the theater, it pretty much went out in my head. The number 9 is It Lives Inside. This movie, I wasn't really expecting much from it. I knew it was a horror movie, and so I was pleasantly surprised. I actually enjoyed this movie fairly well. It was another possession movie, but not necessarily. It didn't go the way I thought it would. It follows this Indian girl who has moved to America. Her parents have brought her to America, and she's trying to she's in high school and she's just trying to fit in. And her mother is very much traditionalist, and she'll only speak Indian in the house, or Hindi, right? That's what they speak. She only speaks Hindi in the house, whereas the girl only speaks English in the house, so obviously already you kind of tell that there's, the reasons for why. But they do have this, rocky relationship in this movie. And then there's this, I guess, a demon, and so she essentially, accidentally releases it, and she has to kind of contain it again. And so we do see the girl and her mother relationship get better in the movie. They have to work together. She also kind of has to embrace her heritage in the movie to defeat the creature. And so I did think that was an interesting aspect of it. And I did think they did great with the creature. They didn't spoil the creature from the beginning. They kind of built up the tension, and then we got the creature reveal at the very end. But yeah, I thought it was a very solid movie. So number 8 was Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Yeah, I'm sure you're surprised as well as me that there was an actual super comic book movie in the top 10 of, this year. That's not Zack Snyder, I guess you could say. But I guess I wasn't really expecting much from this movie, and I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was funny. But it was not because of the toilet humor which they had in the first one, which irritated me, but it was more of the brothers kind of just they're being siblings, and then of course Aquaman deals with stress in his own way. He does more joking, so he jokes throughout the entire thing during these dangerous moments, and then Orm is the more serious one, and there was a lot of humor in that area. It was a visually stunning movie, not like The Flash, definitely. So it was nice that the effects weren't affected by the insanity going on in the studios at the moment. So, I was interested in the storyline somewhat. I did think there being this another kingdom, I did think it was interesting. Not necessarily Black Manta. I guess he wasn't really his own character. He was kind of a vessel for the other villain, the true villain, I guess. And so, but overall, I did like the storyline. And there wasn't really much fighting throughout the movie. I don't think, less than the first one. But I do think the story was a lot better, and so it kept your attention better than the other one, because the other one relied more on the fight scenes and the big visual scenes to to keep you interested. So I'll probably do a review of this one to get more into it. But that was number 8 on my list. Number 7 is Godzilla -1. So I didn't really know that there was going to be another Godzilla movie until like, the middle of this year, and because I am not surprised there's going to be another legendary Godzilla movie after Godzilla vs. Kong, but I didn't realize that the Japanese had, or Toho is the studio that makes the Godzilla movies, but this one was actually pretty enjoyable for me. They do a lot more character development in this one, like a lot more focus on the characters in this one. It follows this Japanese soldier, and World War II Japanese soldier, as he tries to recover from the war. And then Godzilla ends up attacking and re-traumatizing him, and so ultimately he has to learn to be brave and face possible death to protect his family, which he had a hard time doing in the beginning of the movie. So kind of like the character development of not only him, there are other characters who had development as well, so I like that. And I feel like this movie was truer in the kind of intent behind Godzilla. So Godzilla originally intended to be a kind of a metaphor for atomic, the atomic bomb and nuclear war and stuff like that. And I feel like this movie has, that down better than pretty much all of them except maybe the original Godzilla movie. But like I said, I enjoyed it fairly well. Godzilla is creepier in this one, definitely, and the visuals weren't hideous that I can remember. The soundtrack I can't really remember except for the Godzilla theme, but I don't think it was bad. So I thought it was fairly good. So I think this is 6, but the next one is the Cello. And so I did not know this movie is coming out until I saw the trailer in theaters. And I immediately became excited. I mean, you have a cello that kills people when you hear it. That's right up my alley. Some parts of the movie was in Arabic and some was in English. The main character spoke Arabic at home and then English when he was with his, co-workers and out in the public. So I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, if it was it's to show that when at home, they're more likely to use their, I guess, home language as opposed to when they're out in public. But anyways, it has Jigsaw and Alfred as the villains of the movie. So I was surprised because I was assuming it was going to be Arabic, in that they were mostly Arabic actors. I didn't expect the two of them to actually show up as villains. I did enjoy the tone of the movie, this very haunting, kind of look of this celloist descent into madness. It was a very pretty movie. I did think there were interesting shots, like when we see the music kind of drifting through the house, we're, following it down the hallway and kind of seeing how it's affecting others, and I thought that was interesting. It was reminding me a little bit of Hellraiser in the box in a way, just because of the, you kind of make a deal with the devil, if you will, and then you're paying for it. I did wish it would go more into the how and why why the cello is the way it is. It does technically tell us why how the cello was created, but just how it works, how it kills people, I would have loved more of that. So the next movie is When Evil Lurks, of course. I did review that, but again, it was creepy, atmospheric, and unsettling. Definitely, I think one of the most unsettling movies I watched this year. It was in Spanish, and it was like it's one of those foreign films, so automatically felt so different from American movies because American movies have gotten so just generic, and there's really nothing exciting in them anymore. So this was a breath of fresh air for me. So it made me enjoy it more, I guess. It did have some issues with the story and the character development, but ultimately I enjoyed it. So the next movie is Sunshine, and I can't remember what year it was released in, but it's an old movie. I never got around to watching it growing up, but I loved the movie. I'll probably watch it again. I've only seen it once, but it's about a ship that's been sent to restart the sun because it's dying, using a nuclear bomb. But then they get a distress signal from the ship that went before them, and so they go to save them, only for everyone to be supposedly dead, and then shit hits the fan. So essentially what it was. Incredible visuals. I loved it. I loved the soundtrack. There were really creepy scenes as well, which I enjoyed. Like when one of the characters talking to the computer, and the computer says there's 4 people on board instead of like 3. And so it was like that moment of, oh shit, that it just made it put in the right amount of creepiness to make it enjoyable for me. More enjoyable. Throughout the movie, it really makes you in all of the universe just how majestic and how dangerous it is, but how beautiful. So many mixed feelings while watching this movie. It had a lot of now popular actors that probably weren't as much at the time, but Cillian Murphy, he's the main, and Oppenheimer. I enjoyed him well enough in this movie. Rose Byron, is that how you say her name? She plays Renee Lambert in the Insidious movies. I love the Insidious movies, though. Michelle Yeoh, of course. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Of course, I also know her because she was an action star in earlier movies, which I enjoyed. Chris Evans makes an appearance. I think this was before he was in Fantastic Four and eventually Captain America. So, and then there was Hiroyuki Sanada. He was in Army of the Dead and Mortal Kombat, which is the ones I remember him most from. But a lot of his earlier movies were like Japanese movies, so I didn't really know him from any of those. So. But I like him as an actor, so overall just such a great movie. I love this kind of like cosmic sci-fi movies, so I loved it, and I'll probably watch it. I'll probably do a reaction to it, actually, just because I've gotten my thoughts together, and it'd be fun to watch it again. So number 3, this one was unexpected for me. The Life of Emile Zola. This was like in the 30s. This was made in the 30s. Follows the life of French author Emile Zola and his involvement in the Dreyfus Affair that lasted from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. Zola was, I guess, most popular for his criticism of the French government in his novels. I loved the actor. I thought he has such great charisma. He's very charismatic, so he made it so enjoyable. There was unintentional funny moments throughout the movie, so that made it a little bit more enjoyable as well. So I just, and of course this was based on history. I don't think exactly every moment was accurate, but pretty much the gist of it. So I thought it was interesting, which again is not always the way it is with me when it comes to historical movies. They can sometimes be boring to me, but this wasn't boring, so. Of course, number 2 is Bottoms. I just found it so funny in a dark, ridiculous way. I just loved how bonkers it was. It literally just took these kind of like plot points and just took it to the extremes, like having the like rival between the two schools and the football teams, but the rival is literally, they keep, one of the teams keep killing the other members of the other team, and they're not in jail or anything, it's just normal. And of course, Ruby Cruz, I have such a crush on her, so I automatically loved it. And so, yeah, overall, I love this movie. I watched the hell out of it, so. And of course, if you haven't guessed already, number 1 is Rebel Moon. I haven't done a reaction to that. I plan to. I just haven't gotten around to it. I've already seen it. I saw it with my siblings, so. There wasn't as many explosive action scenes in this movie. It was more focused on establishing the tone, the world, and the character. Thing was, it felt very much like BVS in the sense that BVS doesn't have a ton of action scenes. The action scenes that we do get have a point, to the story. They make sense in the context of the story. They're not put in there just to put in action scenes. I felt like this is what they did with Rebel Moon as well, like he's done in a lot of his movies. Beautiful, the visuals, of course, were beautiful. And I was interested in some of the character designs, namely like the brain that has the tentacles that they're able to like control the guy with, which freaked my sister-in-law. We thought that was kind of funny, so. But continually wanting to learn more about this world, so. I love the hand-to-hand fight scenes. I was not disappointed in that area, of course, because, it's Zack Snyder. He is very much great at action scenes, so it's definitely excited for the second part and any future content in this universe, which they actually do have a novelization of the movie out already, the first part at least. They are going to be releasing 3 graphic novels based on the Blood Axes. So I heard people complain about them killing off Ray Fisher's character so quickly, but I mean, I think I already knew that they were going to make additional content outside of the movies, so I can learn more about the characters. And if you are fine with MCU doing this, then I don't want to hear anybody say about Rebel Moon that there's something wrong with them making content separate from the movies. So, anyways, that was my top 10 movies of 2023. So if you did like this video, give it a like, subscribe to get notifications for all the videos I'll be doing. You guys have a nice night. Stay safe out there, and talk to you later.